The night it began felt like the kind of night that splits your life into before and after. Rain clung to the sidewalks of a small American town, street lights blurring into soft halos. And I stood outside a grocery store holding a paper bag that was tearing at the bottom. That was when I noticed her standing under the awning, shoulders tight, eyes fixed on the parking lot as if she were bracing for something painful. I had no idea that a simple favor, something meant to last only a short while, would quietly dismantle the walls I had spent years building around my heart. Before the story pulls you in any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of human connection, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. My name is Ethan Miller, and at that time I was living a life carefully designed to avoid disappointment. I worked at a small architecture firm in Ohio, attended church on Sundays out of habit rather than passion, and kept my emotions folded away like letters I never planned to send. Relationships had taught me caution. I had loved deeply once, trusted completely once, and when it ended, it took something essential with it. Since then, I had chosen safety over risk, routine over vulnerability. That night, I thought I was just buying groceries after a long day. I did not know I was about to be invited into someone else's fragile world. She was Emily Carter, though I did not know her name yet. She looked like someone carrying a secret too heavy for one person. Her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted her jacket, and there was a faint redness around her eyes, the kind that comes from holding back tears rather than crying freely. When our eyes met, there was a hesitation, then resolve, as if she had decided something in that instant. She approached me with careful steps, the way someone approaches a stranger when they have no better options left. What she asked was simple on the surface and complicated in every way that mattered. She needed me to pretend to be her boyfriend for a short time. There was an upcoming family gathering, expectations pressing down on her, and a past she was trying to survive rather than relive. She needed a shield, a role someone could play so she could breathe for a while. I remember thinking it was absurd, awkward, and potentially messy. I also remember the way her eyes searched my face, not for romance, but for mercy. I agreed, not because I wanted adventure, or because I believed in the idea, but because something inside me recognized the look she carried. It was the look of someone who had been hurt and was tired of explaining it. We set quiet boundaries in our own unspoken way. This was temporary. This was pretend. This was safe. Or so I believed. The first few days felt like wearing a borrowed coat that did not quite fit. We practiced being around each other in public, standing close enough to seem familiar, learning each other's rhythms. Emily laughed easily when she felt comfortable. A soft, genuine laugh that surprised me the first time I heard it. She volunteered at a community center, helped organize church food drives, and carried a faith that was bruised but not broken. I admired that without admitting it to myself. I told myself I was just playing a role, just helping out, nothing more. As the days passed, the role began to blur. I found myself paying attention to small things. The way Emily tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. The way she grew quiet when conversations turned toward marriage and permanence. I learned about her past without her ever laying it out directly. A relationship that promised forever but delivered control. Words that were wrapped in scripture but used as weapons. A slow erosion of self-worth disguised as love. She had left that life with courage, but courage does not erase scars. The family gathering arrived sooner than expected, a long weekend at her parents' house in Indiana. Walking into that home felt like stepping onto a stage where everyone had already memorized their lines. Her parents were kind but observant, her siblings playful yet probing. They watched us closely, looking for cracks in the story we were telling. I did my best to be present, respectful, supportive. I joined prayers at the dinner table, helped her father with repairs in the backyard, listened more than I spoke. At night, lying awake in the guest room, I wrestled with feelings I had promised myself I would never entertain again. Pretending had become exhausting because it was starting to feel real. I worried about crossing lines, about confusing kindness with attachment. I worried most about hurting her if I let myself feel something and then had to walk away. Emily struggled too, though she tried to hide it. There were moments when her smile faded unexpectedly when she retreated into herself after moments of closeness. One afternoon, while sitting on the porch watching fireflies rise from the grass, I sensed her walls shaking. She was not asking for love, she was asking for safety. That realization changed everything for me. I understood then that this arrangement was not about deception or convenience. It was about survival. When we returned home, the pretend relationship was supposed to end. That was the plan, but endings are rarely clean when hearts have been involved, even quietly. We continued to see each other initially to debrief to make sure we were both okay, then for coffee, then for walks, then for reasons we no longer needed to explain. The challenge was no longer pretending. The challenge was honesty. I had spent years avoiding it, hiding behind politeness and emotional distance. Emily had spent years learning how to protect herself from people who promised love but delivered pain. We were two cautious souls circling something fragile and beautiful, unsure whether touching it would heal or shatter us. Faith played a quiet role in our story. We attended church together, not as a show, but as two people trying to remember what hope felt like. Sermons about grace and redemption landed differently now. I began to see that love was not supposed to be a performance or a transaction. It was meant to be patient, gentle, and free. Emily reminded me of that without preaching, simply by being herself. There were setbacks, a misunderstanding that reopened old wounds. A moment when fear nearly convinced me to step back into my safe, lonely life. Emily almost pulled away, too. Convinced she was asking for too much, that she was too broken to be chosen freely. We stood at the edge of something real, and the risk felt enormous. What changed was not a grand gesture, but a quiet decision. I chose to stay present even when it scared me. Emily chose to trust slowly, deliberately. We learned that love does not demand perfection, only honesty and effort. The pretend boyfriend arrangement faded into memory, replaced by something unspoken but deeply felt. Near the end of this story, if what you are hearing is touching your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and let us know in the comments. Your engagement tells us that stories of healing and hope still matter. The day I realized I loved Emily was ordinary. We were volunteering at the community center sorting donated clothes. She laughed at something small and the sound filled the room in a way that made everything else fade. I saw her strength, her kindness, her faith, not as something fragile, but as something resilient. I understood then that love was not about pretending to be someone else for a while. It was about choosing to be fully yourself with someone who sees you clearly and stays. Before this story ends, please comment below and share what this journey made you feel. Whether it reminded you of your own story or gave you hope for a new beginning. We did not rush into promises. We did not need to. What we built was slow and real. A friendship rooted in respect. A love grounded in patience. Looking back, I am grateful for the rainy night, the torn grocery bag, and the question that changed everything. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness open doors to the deepest transformations. And sometimes pretending leads you to the most honest love you have ever known.